Hi everyone, my name is Amy Fletcher, and I'm so excited to be teaching for the next couple of weeks on the compassion of Jesus. It's one of my favorite topics from the Bible for a few reasons. One, we often see Jesus' heartbreak for the things that break our own hearts. People are hungry, hurting, or oppressed. Number two, we all have the capacity for compassion, for seeing others where they are and helping when we can. The beautiful thing about the compassion of Jesus is that his reaction, his response, is often a miracle. So as we study a few of Jesus' famous miracles, be thinking about how we can respond when our hearts are moved by compassion. How many of you have ever been hangry? Like so hungry that you get angry. Sometimes I get so wrapped up in what I'm doing that I forget to eat. Then when I am with people, I start to get really short or upset about little things that normally wouldn't bother me. Often I get rude or simply stop interacting simply because everything is so annoying. Now multiply that feeling by thousands and you get the crowd at the Sea of Galilee waiting for Jesus to continue teaching. Jesus had just gotten word that his cousin, his friend, John the Baptist, had died, and he wants to get away for a bit with his friends to grieve. And Jesus heads to the Sea of Galilee and a boat, hoping to find a place away from it all. Many people in the community were also grieving the loss of John the Baptist, the great leader of faith. And they probably felt a little lost without John, and knowing that Jesus was a great teacher and healer, knowing that John had proclaimed Jesus as the Messiah, the Son of God, as people found out that he was headed to the sea, they gathered there to meet with him. They were seeking hope and excited to be in the presence of Jesus. The Bible says, when Jesus arrived and saw the large crowd, he had compassion on them because they were like sheep without a shepherd. And then he began to teach them many things. Jesus, in his time of grief, learning of his friend's death, wanting nothing more than a quiet place to grieve, set that all aside as he saw the crowd. Then Jesus' heart broke for the crowds he saw. Rather than dismiss the crowd or his gut-wrenching feeling, Jesus let his physical response lead him to an opportunity to share the good news of God's love with people desperate to hear it. That opportunity led to the next moment, providing for people's basic needs, which Jesus saw as yet another opportunity and not a burden. Late in the day, his disciples came to him and said, "This is an isolated place and it's really late in the day. Send them away so that they can go to the surrounding countryside and villages and buy themselves something to eat." He replied, "You give them something to eat." But they said to him, "Should we go off and buy the bread? It's worth almost 8 months' pay and give it to them to eat?" People are getting hangry, Lord, and there are a lot of them. How are we going to feed them? Jesus has the disciples check their own supplies. They have 5 loaves and 2 fish. 5 loaves and 2 fish are not enough to feed this crowd. Yet Jesus, in his compassion, his care for this crowd, says it's enough. No, he actually says it's more than enough. He directed the disciples to seat all the people in the groups as though they were having a banquet on the green grass. They sat down in groups of hundreds and 50s. He took the 5 loaves and the 2 fish, looked up to heaven, blessed them, broke the loaves into pieces, and gave them to his disciples to set before the people. He also divided the 2 fish among them all. Everyone ate until they were full. They filled 12 baskets with the leftover pieces of bread and fish, and about 5,000 had eaten. Rather than wave his hand and magically make their hunger disappear, Jesus used the people's need for food as a teaching moment for his disciples and for the crowds. He taught that everyone was welcomed and included. He taught that he was genuinely concerned about their needs. And he taught them that they were worth his time. Jesus was not concerned about efficiency. Rather, he chose the more time-consuming task of inclusion. His disciples organized people in groups of 50 or 100, and that took time and energy. Yes, Jesus broke the bread, but the disciples handed it out. More time and energy. They, the disciples, were the connection between Jesus and the people in need. The disciples were key participants in the miraculous provision. We can also participate in the miraculous. We can look for opportunities to share God's love with others. We can serve in our community to help feed the hungry and provide shelter for the homeless. There are lots of opportunities to serve with your church community or through your school or with your family. Take a little time to pay attention to what breaks your heart and ask God how you can be a part of His miracles today. Jesus' overwhelming compassion for others was a core, driving element of His entire ministry. To those who came to Him with sincere hearts, He always responded with open arms, endless mercy, and unexpected generosity. If we allow ourselves to receive God's embrace, compassion, and generosity for our lives, we'll be forever changed. If we in turn offer the same to others, both our lives and theirs will be changed forever.